FC Barcelona, one of the biggest sports brands in the world, is of course well known for winning cups and sharing the gift of Lionel Messi with the world. But much more than that. Actually, the club's motto is more than a club. FC Barcelona has an innovation-oriented group called Barca Innovation Hub, led by INSEAD alumnus Javier Sobrino, and he is with us today to talk about his strategic vision for innovation. Javier, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a real pleasure to be here.
So just to start, how did you get involved with this initiative?
Barca Innovation Hub is in the essence of FC Barcelona, because more than 3 years ago we set up the strategic plan, the corporate strategic plan. And by that time I was leading that project, and we realized that definitely there was a lot of research and innovation already in place in the club. So what we did was to try to structure all that innovation that was already there. At that time, for instance, there were more than 35 people developing their PhD, internal staff of FC Barcelona in different fields. So we realized there was something there. We have to define a project that organizes everything and develops the whole innovation strategy of the club. And that's how Barca Innovation Hub was set up as one of the key strategic projects within the corporate strategic plan. We are a very special club, and we research, we have a lot of knowledge, but we are fully aware that we don't know everything. So we need to count on third parties. That's why we realized that open innovation was the key tool and the key framework in order to implement that innovation strategy. We have a lot of resources in order to innovate. We have the key people, we have the key facilities, we have the resources and capabilities in place, but definitely we don't know everything. So we have to share, obviously, and this is part of the strategy of Barca Innovation Hub, to share knowledge, but also we want to incorporate knowledge. And that's why we established an open innovation strategy. It's a win-win situation, and this is the basis of open innovation.
And maybe, Javier, can you give us a few examples of those partnerships and how do you engage with them?
Absolutely. We are building a big ecosystem. At the end of the day, Barca Innovation Hub, the mission is to become the biggest sports innovation center in the world. So we have to count on third parties, and we count on universities. INSEAD for us is obviously one of those, but we count on research centers. We count on hospitals, because healthcare for us is absolutely critical. But on the business side, we also count on startups, and we incubate and contribute to develop different startups in different fields. Barcelona is a very innovative city. It's a city related to design, it's a city related to innovation. So obviously Barcelona is the base of everything, but this is a global project. We have a global brand. We have a very relevant brand expansion strategy from the corporate perspective. So Barca Innovation Hub is the same thing. So we are targeting different areas in the world where we think that we can leverage innovation. Obviously, the US is one of those areas, both the East and the West Coast, where we are working with different stakeholders, investors, startups. Latin America for us is also a good source of talent and new ideas. And obviously Israel is a source of different technologies, for instance, related to blockchain applied to sport, artificial intelligence, how to analyze the game through artificial intelligence. We are dealing with Israeli companies as well in that space. So our vocation is trying to be very global, from the sources of knowledge, from sources of talent, and this is why we are looking for different spaces. Also, China is a very relevant place for us, not only because it's one of the strategic markets for the club, but also all the innovation and the technology that is evolving in that space as well for us is very important.
What are some of the initial successes of the Barca Innovation Hub in connecting with different players?
Yeah, we have different types of stakeholders, as I was mentioning before. Obviously, with universities, we develop research projects which they have their impact. For instance, with MIT right now, we are developing a research project on how to analyze spaces in football. So very briefly, it's about how a player is not only the question of how he moves in the pitch, but is to what extent one single player generates spaces for the rest of the team. So that's very relevant for our coaches. But this is kind of very specialized type of projects. Definitely, this is an ecosystem. This is a true partnership among different types of entities, as I was saying before, not only universities, but also hospitals. We collaborate with hospitals in Barcelona for research, but also startups, big corporations, and as well sports entities. We announced a couple of weeks ago a strategic alliance with FIFA in order to develop a data standard for the football industry. So this is something that Barca has developed together with FIFA, and that we give it to the industry, because we truly believe that if everyone uses that standard, that will benefit FC Barcelona, but that will also benefit the whole industry.
You know, when we think about open innovation, one of the big challenges is not the access. So access and going across the globe and connecting with those startups is difficult, but with the brand that FC Barcelona has, with 3,100,000 fans worldwide, it might be less of a challenge. Another big challenge is how do you get those ideas inside the company? So from your experience doing this, what could you share with us?
This is absolutely key, and you have mentioned it. Our brand is very strong, definitely, is a global brand. And we are receiving nearly every single day, every single week, we are receiving some projects. People that would like to interact from open innovation perspective with us. So our first key challenge is how to discriminate and see what are the projects that might be worth implementing and which are the ones that we have to reject it, although they might be really good. But to your point, you're absolutely right. The key challenge is how to insert that open innovation in the institution, in the club. And it's not that easy. And what we have realized is that the only way to do so is to tackle existing challenges that the organization already has. So this is the key point for us. At the beginning, we started to think about different types of projects, the fancy technologies that could be implemented. But when we reached to the final clients, they were not interested, because they will not solve an existing problem of things or a medium-run problem for them. So we realized is that in order to be successful, we have to be really close to the organization. We cannot be an island there in the club. No, we have to be so close to the guys that run the daily activity of the club that we could solve challenges that we have. And this is precisely what this is part of the success of Barca Innovation Hub internally. We have a structure, and the areas I was mentioning before, those areas, they just respond to key challenges that the club has. And another key learning for me has been that we have set up the team of Barca Innovation Hub team based on existing employees of FC Barcelona. We have not hired anyone from outside. What we have done is to hire former or people that were executing different functions in the club in the innovation space. So for instance, the person that runs the healthcare practice, he was the former doctor of the first team, football and basketball. So he's fully aware of what are the needs from the sports side. And this is what we are replicating in the different areas. So it's people from the different functions that now their full-time job is to think about in the long run through innovation in order to tackle those challenges that the club already has. For us, this is how, well, at least it has been working at FC Barcelona.
If we look at your title, you are the Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer.
That's right.
So you have to combine not only the innovation, but also thinking about strategy, corporate strategy, diversification. To what extent do you think Barca Innovation Hub can help you with that mission?
It's a key tool. Actually, I like to say internally in the club that we are the tool in order to diversify revenue streams. You know that this year we have been the club that with highest revenues worldwide, a sports club. But just being a sports club or a football club, those revenues are limited. Obviously, we have room for improvement and room for growth, and there are some revenue streams that can grow. But if we want to be sustainable, and we are a members club, so we don't have owners, we cannot raise capital, we have to be self-sustainable. So Barca Innovation Hub and innovation at the end of the day has to be the tool in order to start to move from purely a sports club that we are and we want to be, and we belong to our members, but at the same time we want to start moving to a sports company that can generate new revenue streams that can sustain the whole club. And and Barca Innovation Hub definitely is the tool for that. We also deal with big corporations that they want to test certain products or services. So we tried with them to act as a sports lab. But if you think about this from innovation perspective, this is a huge lab for companies to test, to research, to innovate. And we open that space for companies that want to research with us. And this is another way that we interact with companies.
Can you give us an example?
Yes, and startup, it was a very small company from south of Spain in Almeria and Andalusia called RealTrack with a product that is called Wimo. This is a tracking system, and some years ago we had in order to monitor the situation, actions of players, and we had an issue some years ago that we have outdoor and indoor sports, and we didn't have a system that can monitor athletes both outdoor and indoor. And this startup came some years ago claiming that they had a great technology. So what we did is we introduced the startup to our technical guys, and they told us yes. They validated it and saw that was a fantastic technology. So now we have implemented that technology. We are working with the company in order to improve that technology, and we are trying to support them in order to that technology to be implemented other places. For instance, that technology has already been implemented in the Mexican Federation, and all the teams in first division in Mexican football are wearing that technology today. Different federations are already using that technology. So that has been an amazing process from a very early stage project to now a company that has gone international together with us.
And for those who are not familiar with sports, if you think about what a lab, how Barcelona could be a lab, can you give an example of a specific product, specific company that you could be a lab?
Absolutely, yeah. For instance, Gatorade. Gatorade, from many years ago, they started to test their new liquids and hydration systems with our athletes. So they have been testing with not only the first team, but the different athletes that we have in our lab. So at the end of the day, that's a great place to research, because at the end of the day, you have athletes from 8 years old till the top athletes. You have athletes in 13 sports. So you have a great sample in a single place, under a single structure. That's why we say that we are a great lab, because in one single organization, which is FC Barcelona, you have all the resources in place for you to test the different products that you can implement. All those products, all those services, all those technologies, obviously they have to be to some extent related to sport. So we are experts on sport. We are not experts in other fields. But what we think is that sport is so transversal that sport can impact many different sectors, and obviously many different types of companies can come to the lab to research and innovate together with us.
So I would like to finish speculating a little bit with you. So if we look ahead and we imagine we are 10 years from now, probably Messi won't be playing anymore.
I hope he will stay for many years.
Exactly. How do you see is going to be the future? How Barcelona, FC Barcelona, and how Barcelona Innovation Hub would look like in 10 years' time? I know it's speculative, but how do you envision it?
My dream is obviously that FC Barcelona would be the club that it is today, in terms of a governance structure, in terms of being a club that belongs to its members and is self-sustainable through innovation. So I think the key contribution that Barca Innovation Hub can bring to the club is that the club stays the same from the club perspective, but through innovation, we are able to create kind of a big activity related to sport. And that the new Barca space, where the new facilities, our sports city, everything that is in place can be the reference for the sports industry worldwide, as the place where any innovation on any relevant research that can happen in this industry and related industries can be developed. So my view in the future is working with many different companies in many different sectors, helping them through Barca Innovation Hub to implement their strategies, their corporate strategies, but bear in mind that the final goal is that the club is at the forefront of the sports industry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.